What's up, Guardians? My name is Redrix. I hope you're having a fantastic day. In this video, I wanted to take a minute to look at some many new features that have just been announced from Bungie for the Lightfall expansion. Lightfall will be releasing in about 19 days of this video going live on YouTube, so it's pretty crazy to just see how Year 5 went by that fast. So I wanted to talk about some many new features before the expansion Lightfall releases. So let's just get right into it. If you guys didn't know, Strand has just been revealed to us. A lot has been revealed to us. We had the Strand trailer a couple days ago, and of course we had some little deep dives onto it. I will link a lot of the articles if you want to see it below. But it's just crazy how intense and how amazing we are finally going to get a super revolving around a grappling hook. Strand will be one of the much new features that will be added with the Lightfall expansion, being one of, well, the next Darkness subclass that will consist of course, the new fragment aspect system that we saw throughout the year 5 with Void, Arc, and Solar being changed to that new system of customization for our Guardian. But Strand will be one of the new subclasses that will revolve around using transversal type methods, and of course, like I just said, a grappling hook will be consistent in this type method, and it's just going to be amazing to finally see a grappling hook live in action in the Destiny game, and I cannot wait to transverse all the way around Neomuna with it. Be aware that Neomuna will probably empower Strand to be more powerful than it will be in PvP, and there will be tweaks into it to try to prevent another stasis outbreak of the next couple of months, Strand breaking the PvP meta, but be aware that that could be a little bit overpowered in PvP at launch. One of the big new features that I feel like many Guardians just don't look out to is that Bungie has just made a 2 abilities and beyond present look dev team TWAB, and this will really go into a lot of the 3.0 future abilities and how it will be looking after Strand and when Strand is released into the wild. And one of the big things that we weren't ever going to be aware of is that they have done a lot of changes to the normal supers, and like Daybreak, like Spark of Resilience, like Fragments as well, but also they added new tools to the arsenal. Yes, Void, Arc, and Solar will be getting new tools into, of course, the game, which is something that no one really would think of. You know, I understand that many believe today that Stasis is not really used as much, and there's of course special builds for it, but after, you know, a year of really not any too crazy changes or any new content with it, no one would really use, of course, that subclass. And while many could maybe agree with that statement, Bungie is actually going to be doing something different, where they're going to release much more customization with Arc, Void, and Solar with the launch of Strand to finally bring out, of course, all the subclasses live in action at the same time, to have bring Void, Arc, and Solar with more customization, with more ways of how to, of course, make the subclass even more powerful with the release of Strand. It's going to be very interesting on what subclass you're going to be using with the launch of Year 6. Let me know your thoughts on what you will be using in the Legendary campaign. But something I wanted to break down to you was what these new perks were, what these new tools were for, of course, the light subclasses. So they are updating a handful of fragments for the Solar and Void, being Void Breaches and Fire Spites, which are going to be some of the new additions to fragments to intend to make the combat style mods more powerful, which are going to be really cool, as they just did a lot of changes to the mods, and they have just did some, well, let's just say nerfs to a lot of the stats that we know today. So there's going to be a lot of major changes to the mods as well, which I will also say, which is just crazy, as all mods will have the new mod manager system, which will be added upon release of the Lightfall expansion, as well as also having loadout customization, loadout manager, which will also be really great with the release of this expansion. But again, if we go back to what I said, there will be new tools for our arsenal. There are going to be these new fragments called Spark of Instant. When critically wounded, take damaging from nearby enemies emits a burst of damaging arc energy that jolts targets. There is also going to be a new fragment for arc, which is called Sparks of Haste. You have greatly increased resilience, recovery, and mobility while sprinting. Those fragments sound awesome for an arc subclass. It's always focused around using a lot of that, hit hard, aggression, all that type of stuff. So to finally see some more fragments being added to the, that sort of going and hitting hard and then sprinting mobility type action is really cool for those lovers that love the arc subclass. If we go into solar, we're getting a way more effects than we used to. We're getting this new fragment called Fire Spite. Fire Spites are created by a suit of new and existing solar fragments and grant grenade energy on pickup. There's a new Ember of Mercy. When you revive an ally, you and your other nearby allies gain restoration. Picking up it will grant restoration, which is crazy. Ember of Resolve, solar grenades, final blows, cure you? Cure you, yes. Now, also, they are going to make it so creating Fire Spites on solar weapon kills while active in addition to its original effects. So you will be getting Fire Spite on solar weapon kills. You're also going to create Fire Spite on solar defeats, and you'll be able to now create Fire Spite when defeating scorched targets in addition to its original effects. With all this, they are finally using more, and adding more features, plus using the original ones to our older subclasses, which is just awesome to finally see this. Of course, we'll be using Strand a lot in this expansion, but just to see how our light subclasses will be getting major features is just insane. So to continue with our last subclass, Void, there's these new things called Void Preaches, that they are created by a selection of new and existing Void fragments and grant class ability energy on pickup. There's also a fragment where finisher final blows create a burst of void damage that causes nearby enemies to become volatile. Defeating volatile targets creates a Void Preach. There's also a fragment called the Echo of Vigilance, if I can say that right, where defeating a target when your shields are depleted grants you temporary Void Overshield. There's also Echo of Domineering, where now creates a Void Preach when defeating suppressed targets in addition to its original effects, as well as creating a Void Preach when you're defeating weakened targets with precision damage, as well as also granting Devour on picking up a Void Preach in addition to your original effects. These new type of style, the Void Preach, the Fire Spites, and the Spark of Instance, will really help out and blow out these new features for our Guardians. Of course, we won't be leaning and looking at them crazy, but it's something to really look at when we're using Strand. When we're using Strand, we're loving all the grappling hook. It's to go back to these older subclasses and look how powerful they really are. It's very interesting to finally see our older, younger subclasses getting these new features. But yeah, that really wraps up the video. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you guys did, why not subscribe and like? But other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.